Steelers fans, the season is in full swing, and what's happening in Pittsburgh will surprise you. From controversial decisions by the team's management to decisive moments that could change the team's course, there's a lot at stake. You'll hear details that explain what divides the fans and how the team is silencing critics on the field, and you can't miss any of this. Leave a like and come join us. Mike Tomlin might be one of the most polarizing figures in Steelers Nation right now, but let's be real. He's also one of the NFL's most respected coaches. Pittsburgh fans are used to a certain standard: dominance in the 70s, Super Bowl wins in the 2000s, and an offense that lit up the scoreboard throughout the 2010s. That's the culture. Winning isn't optional, it's the expectation. And while Tomlin's been great at keeping the Steelers competitive, there's no denying the playoff drought is a sore spot. Let's address the elephant in the room. The Steelers haven't won a playoff game since the 2016 season. That year, they made it all the way to the AFC Championship before getting bounced by the Patriots. Since then, it's been a whole lot of frustration. A first-round bye ruined by the Jaguars in 2017, a stunning loss to the Browns in 2020, and predictable exits against the Chiefs and Bills in 2021 and 2023, respectively. For a fan base that measures success by Lombardies, it's tough to swallow. NFL insider Sheil Kapadia recently jumped to Tomlin's defense on the Ryan Russillo podcast, calling the criticism of Tomlin's playoff record the most misleading stat in the NFL. Kapadia made a great point. Look at the quarterbacks Tomlin's had to work with during this stretch. Post-prime Ben Roethlisberger, Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges, even Kenny Pickett, while promising, isn't exactly a finished product. Take a league-average coach with those quarterbacks, Kapadia said, and they're not even sniffing the playoffs. And yet, somehow, Tomlin has kept the Steelers relevant, avoiding the dreaded rebuild that many teams would have embraced in the same situation. The Steelers faithful are divided. Some see Tomlin as a genius for keeping the ship afloat in tough times, while others are tired of being just good enough to make the playoffs, but not good enough to win. 4 straight postseason losses sting, no doubt about it, but context matters. The losses to Jacksonville and Cleveland were brutal, but the recent ones, the Steelers were clear underdogs. Beating the Chiefs or Bills with the rosters they had, that wasn't happening. Kapadia also pointed to 2019 as Tomlin's defining moment. Forget the Super Bowl win. What Tomlin did that year was nothing short of miraculous. Big Ben went down in Week 2, the team started 0-3, and the duo of Rudolph and Hodges had Steelers fans pulling their hair out. Still, Tomlin coached that squad to an 8-8 record, all while staying mathematically alive for the playoffs until the final week of the season. That's the stuff of Hall of Famers. The Steelers haven't been perfect, but you've got to admire how Tomlin's kept this franchise competitive year in and year out. Whether you're a fan of his or not, his consistency and leadership are undeniable. Hall of Fame bound? Absolutely. But for now, Pittsburgh fans just want one thing: a playoff win to break the drought and silence the critics. So, do you agree that the Steelers' recent history is more complex than it seems? Tell us in the comments. Now, get ready, because the next news brings a decisive factor for the team's future. The Pittsburgh Steelers just keep proving the doubters wrong. After squeaking out an 18-16 win over the Ravens in Week 11, the Steelers now sit at 8-2, sitting pretty atop the AFC North, the so-called toughest division in football. Yet despite defying expectations at every turn this season, the national media seems content to leave them out of the conversation about the AFC's elite. The Bills and Chiefs are the darlings, and somehow, Pittsburgh's grinding, scrappy success gets brushed aside. It's disrespectful, plain and simple. Coming into the season, no one gave the Steelers much of a shot to even compete in their division. The Ravens were favorites, and the Bengals and Browns weren't far behind. Then came an off-season full of change for Pittsburgh's offense. Arthur Smith was brought in as the new offensive coordinator, while Russell Wilson and Justin Fields joined the quarterback room alongside new additions on the offensive line. It looked good on paper, but when Wilson went down before the season even began, the Steelers had to pivot fast. Fields stepped in and, to everyone's surprise, performed admirably. Yet when Mike Tomlin announced Wilson's return as the starter, folks doubted him. Well, those critics are eating their words now. Wilson is 4-0 since returning, and Tomlin has once again shown why he's never had a losing season in Pittsburgh. Still, the disrespect lingers. Even after beating Baltimore to solidify their AFC North lead, they get little love nationally. Just look at Bill Belichick's comments on the Pat McAfee show after the Bills edged out the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Belichick called Buffalo and Kansas City the teams to beat in the AFC, praising Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes as leaders and labeling their matchup a heavyweight fight. Fair enough, but to completely leave out an 8-2 Steelers squad that has ground out win after win? That's a slap in the face. Pittsburgh has been hearing the same tired tune all season. Win this game, and you'll get respect. Yet, even after handling their business against the Ravens, the recognition still isn't there. The Steelers just keep putting their heads down and proving people wrong, like they always do. Meanwhile, Tomlin and the coaching staff made headlines for finally getting Justin Fields back on the field in Week 11, albeit in a limited role. Fields saw just 3 snaps, and while his slide short of a first down wasn't exactly a highlight, his value during practice might be the real story. Fields has been instrumental in simulating mobile quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson during game prep, helping Pittsburgh's defense stay sharp. And clearly it's working. Jackson is 1-4 against Pittsburgh as a starter, and the Steelers have won 8 of their last 9 meetings with the Ravens. This team thrives on being underestimated. They don't care about flashy narratives or media hype. Whether it's with Wilson under center or Fields helping out in any way he can, the Steelers are finding ways to win. And while the national spotlight keeps shining on Buffalo and Kansas City, don't be surprised if Pittsburgh forces their way into that conversation by season's end. Pittsburgh has never been about excuses. It's about results. But while some question, the team responds on the field, and Tomlin continues to defy expectation. If you want more on this journey, subscribe to the channel and stay in the loop.